can't believe it. I'm here again. It's only taken me about 6 weeks. I'm Lisa, and Continental Drift Knits is my channel, and this is, I think it's episode 8, I think, something like that. And I'm coming to you today on Saturday the 23rd, I've completely lost track, of 22nd of April, and coming to you from Sheffield in the United Kingdom in England. And have we done a lot since we last saw you? So it's all been a bit crazy. We left New Zealand, so that's where I last filmed. We left New Zealand, we went to Australia, we spent 6 sort of crazy days there. Then flew to, it was a 42-hour commute from Melbourne to Spain. So we flew to London, had to take a bus from Heathrow to Gatwick, used National Express. It was actually very, very good. They were very good. Flew from Gatwick, London to Alicante, and at that point we knew we would be really exhausted and arriving at night, so we picked up the hire car, driving on the wrong side of the road, or for us, and ended up going to a little Airbnb hostel for the night. Very basic but very clean, and a great call. So we stayed the night there, and then we went to down to La Manga, to a friend's property, and had 5 days just to recover and get over some jet lag. So anyway, before I get on to all that, so Lisa, Continental Drift Knits, you can find me on Instagram as Continental Drift Knits. You can find me on Ravelry as CDK Podcast, because they wouldn't fit Continental Drift Knitsing. So CDK for Continental Drift Knits Podcast. And I think there's an email address too, but that's all. Everything's down below, all the links to all my projects, my Ravelry page. If you can't access Ravelry, just message me, email me, message me on YouTube. I love all your comments on YouTube. It's just fantastic fun to reply and talk to people. And I hope you're doing well, and I hope you've been well over the last 6 or 8 weeks. I've done a lot of knitting, and I sort of haven't done a lot of knitting. Funny, I don't feel very productive, but actually when I prepared for this episode, I was like, it's not too bad. Anyway, so back to what I've been doing first. Let's sort of cover that off. So this will be a bit lifey, bit crafty, all those sorts of things. I have done serious stash damage. So much for reducing stash. We've probably increased it significantly. My husband is a little bit angsty about the extra case we had to buy, but that's okay. I'm living with it. That's fine. He's living with it too. He's fine. So he's gone to play golf. We're staying in a friend's lovely home, and they're away in Germany for a few days. So I've got the guts up to do one because nobody's home. But yeah, so we won't do stash this episode. I'm going to do a separate stash acquisition little episode, just so that if you're not into stash buying or not interested in seeing what I bought, which is absolutely understandable, then that's fine. If you are, then we can chat all things acquisition and what I've bought them for, and the projects and the history behind why I bought that particular yarn. Or if the yarn's new to me, I'll let you know that, and we'll see how it goes over the next few months. So let's go one step back. Okay, so we went to Spain for 5 days. That was great. Really good break. Really good to get over jet lag. We couldn't spend a lot of time in the UK because we've recently left as tax residents. We couldn't leave. We couldn't stay in the UK more than 16 nights, I think. from when we left previously. So we thought Spain would be a good place to recover a bit. And then we went back to London for 48 hours, popped into Kew Gardens. I still have a membership there until June, so we've taken advantage of that and been twice this spring. And then we flew for our very first ever organised tour, and we flew to Turkey. So we flew to Istanbul, and we had an amazing time. We all got sick. The whole bus got sick, but that's fine. It was only a cold, I think. I don't think it was COVID. But we had an amazing time. We saw some incredible things, and at the end of this episode, I'll put some footage up. We went in a balloon. We went to Ephesus. We went to Asclepion. We went to Troy. We went to the white limestone terraces of Pamukkale. We went to another geological formations in Pigeon Valley in Cappadocia. We did a day tour of the big mosques and markets and that sort of thing in Istanbul. Yeah, it was fantastic. The food, company was really good. We went with, I'm not sponsored, we went with Travel Talk Tours, and my son had actually been on the tour, that same tour with the same guide, 12 months earlier. And I said to him, "You sure we're not too old? You know, we're mid to late 50s. And I said, "You sure we're not too old? You know, you sure?" And he said, no, you're fine. He said half the group was over 40. That's fine. So there was sort of a group at about 20, age of 20 to 25, another group at about 30, 35. And then there was an older group, sort of, there was about eight of us that were over 45, over 50 maybe. I think the youngest participant in our group was 22, and the eldest was 64. Anyway, everyone got on, everyone did their thing. Yeah, we all got on really well. So there's 24 of us on the tour, and I will cough occasionally because I've got another bit of a cold. So, but that's okay. I think that's just travel and fatigue and all that sorts of things. So then we spent 8 nights in Turkey, flew back to London, spent 2 or 3 days in London, and then came up to Sheffield, where we have good friends and colleagues, and stayed here for a week, went back to London for a week, or stayed here for Easter, went back to London for the week after Easter, back up here in Sheffield for another, it's a total of 9 days, 5 days house sitting, 4 days in an Airbnb. And then we go to Manchester for a night, fly out from Manchester, and we're going to Rome. And we're going to Rome with my husband's brother and sister-in-law. And so the 4 of us are going to explore Rome. They're going to explore for a bit longer than we are, but we're going to be with them for about 4 days, which will be absolutely lovely. And then we fly back to back to Manchester, stay the night in Sheffield, down to London the next day, stay 1 night, and then we fly home. And we're not going to the Philippines now. It didn't quite work out. We're going in July. But we will arrive home for my young grandson's 4th birthday. On the morning of his birthday, we arrive, and I'm very happy about that. So that's what we've been doing. Now, going to have to discuss the hair. Okay, my hair has a relaxant in it, as you can see, and it's very, very curly, and I don't wear it out, and I don't wear it curly. So my husband had a bit of a laugh this morning because he thought I was rocking the 80s again. So anyway, it is what it is. I thought I'd go curly and see what happened, but it just looks a bit scruffy, but that's okay. Okay, let's do some knitting, or let's talk about some knitting. I have got lots of little finished projects, and then I've also been testing. So I've been testing for Rebecca. Now I've got to ask her whether it's Clow or Clow, but Rebecca from the the.creabea podcast. She's the.creabea, CREABEA, on Instagram, and she has been dipping her toe in the water, probably her whole body actually. She's been doing great things in the knit designing area. And if you remember my Kerr sweater, that was the mohair fingering all long sleeve sweater with the band of colour work. That was one of hers as a test knit, and I am doing another test knit. And what she's done is I'm testing for her a knit called the Tolsta Tee. It's a t-shirt pattern because obviously in Europe and North America, you're going into summer. In the UK, it feels like winter. It's miserable. It has just stopped raining after 2 days straight of rain. And hence I am wearing my very woolly jumper, which has loosened off a lot bit, which is interesting. And I love wearing it. So that's fine. So I said to Rebecca, I'd be interested in testing for her. And she very gratefully received my test application and said yes. And so it's been a very active test group. But what she wanted us to do was riff off the pattern. So in other words, what sort of embellishments, if you've seen her Instagram, you'll see she's used mohair. There's been stripes, there's been eyelets, there's been, I did marling. There's been all sorts of different fabrics created, different styles. And I think one person's done, a couple of people have done 4. I've done 2. And that was enough. I probably, and I had mixed success. I think I'm happy with them both, but I'll show them to you. So this is the Tolsta Tee. And what I'll do, I might sit across here a bit and then I can put some footage up here. Okay, but first of all, I haven't got it on because it's too cold. I marled Woolyknit. Okay, so it's Woolyknit fingering weight cotton, 4-ply cotton, and I marled the Seafoam green and the cream, and I've got a really nice t-shirt. So now the only issue with this one is the ease is not quite right. So it's actually a couple of centimetres negative ease, certainly around my hips. It's probably not quite long enough. I ran out of one. I had to guesstimate how much I was going to use, and because it was on a cone. And so it's probably a couple of centimetres too short, but I am planning on losing some weight again. I've got to the point that I really need to get myself fit. I need to get myself strong, and I need to lose a little bit of weight, just for me, just to be healthy. And I think if I did that, its fit would be slightly different. So it's a really nice fabric, and it's a lovely fabric to wear. It's lovely and soft. I'd highly recommend it. So that's Tolsta Tee number 1. I'm just going to have some tea. It's not specialty. It's just Yorkshire. Okay, so, and then the second one, which I just finished yesterday. Oops, a whip. The second one, which I finished yesterday, is a linen one. It's all linen. And and it's done at a really large gauge for 4-ply linen. And so it is see-through, but I'll just show you here. I'm wearing it over a dress, and the what you'll find is it's just enough. If you've got no sleeve, a sleeveless top on or sleeveless dress on, it's just enough to add a little bit of warmth in the upper body over summer. And I'll be really interested to see how this goes once I've blocked it. So I haven't blocked it yet. I just used leftovers. So I had done, and I brought it with me. Remember last time, I think it was, I showed you the, because when I'd done the Elton jumper, I showed you my Elton cardigan, which has gone super, 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 super soft. And that's what I'm hoping this will do. This will go super, super, super drapey and soft when I wear it. And so I'll just throw it on over a singlet top or a cami, or I've got a number of sleeveless dresses that I'll just throw that over on a summer's evening when you're feeling a little bit, you know, the sun's gone and it's a little bit crisper, but it's still warm. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. Did an Italian bind off. It's not the neatest, but it actually will look a lot better once I've washed it. So to wash that, I will actually literally put that in with a pair of jeans and wash it like a hot cotton wash, because now I'm going to say this, but I don't know for sure, but I think the more you belt it around, the better. Hold that thought. I'll tell you next time. So yeah, so that's Tolsta Tee number 2. 5mm needles. Now, 5mm needles. Let's talk about 5mm needles in plant fibre product, knitting plant fibres. My hands don't like it. I sort of belted along at the beginning of this one and I had to stop because my hands were really sore. And I don't think I've ever had sore hands before. And I've knitted for 40 years, on and off, but I've never had sore hands before, ever. And I just think at 5mm and using a plant fibre, both the cotton and the linen, I swapped to, so the cotton, when I was knitting the cotton, I started on my Chargoos, the metal needles, and I swapped to Chargoo bamboo. I don't know what they are, whether they're bamboo or whether, hang on, they're here. Now I've got my cup of tea. I get all tangled up, don't I? Okay. It just says Chargoo. Anyway, they were much better. Much, 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 much better. So I sort of magic looped some sleeves. So, yeah, much better than the metals. But still, I had to take breaks. I had to do other stuff. So, so I've got a few more finished objects. So, what else have we got? Got them all beside me. 2 days ago, I finished this, and it's the Softie pattern by Liner, Jonna Hietala, who also designed this, and I can wear it like that, or you can see I'm not caring about my hair, obviously. Oh yes, I can wear it like the latest. Can you see me walk around like this? No, not really. If I was wearing it slouchy, I'd poke it like that. Nice. So warm. Oh, it's the EcoSoft. Hang on, I'll grab it. Thing. Here it is. Isager. EcoSoft and that'll form part of my stack acquisition. So this took 2 balls. It's very floofy hat, and if you really want to wear it in the new style, you can. Sorry, I'm being a bit naughty. Yeah, so that's the Softie. It's a free pattern. Yeah, so that was on 5mm needles as well. Didn't bother my hands, and I was so proud of myself. I knit this one all continental. So my left hand, completely left-handed. I was very proud of myself actually for doing that. Rib, left-handed. Had to remind myself how to purl and just used YouTube, and it was good practice actually. Was quite comfortable, but it's going to get a lot of wear. So that's the Softie. And before that, I think I showed you this. I'm sorry about clearing my throat all the time. I'm not used to talking quite so much with since we've had colds, and I was a bit stuffed up yesterday too. So being around 4-year-olds will do it to you. So this is my Musselburgh hat, and my Musselburgh hat was essentially this, a big long tube. So you do a crown at one end, and then you knit, then you do a crown at the other end and close it off. So you don't ever sew in ends or anything like that. They're all inside the tube, inside the closed off tube at both ends, like that. Now you can see some striping. What I've done there is I've got a Zorba ball, and I've just used helical striping. So basically you have both yarns on the needle at once. You knit right round the row, and just 3 stitches before you're crossing over to the next row, you pick up your other yarn and you go right round till 3 stitches before. So you're finishing 3 stitches before every row, and so your starting point changes, and basically you're doing 2 spirals on top of each other, so they never ever meet, and you start and stop, and it doesn't seem to get that stress. Oh, there's where it, like, that's where it stops, but it's not really a big deal. So I just added that in because a few of them that I'd researched with the Shirley Brian Yarns, which is what this fade is, had not quite been long enough, and people said they'd wish they'd put some in. So the reason I put it in there was that is where the brim folds up. So you don't see that so much, this section. And I decided to do the 2 skeins that way, so I could get so I could get a light hat, because when I fold it up, I get a light hat. So I can get a light hat, oops, like that. Or I can swap it round and I get a dark hat. So that's the way I've been mainly wearing it. It's great. It's double thickness, so it's 4 thicknesses of fingering weight yarn on the top there. You could wear it if you want. Can't wear it like standing up, but you could wear it. Ooh, could wear it like that, I suppose. And if I want to wear it the other way, so the light side out, I can wear it like that. So this is Shirley Brian yarn. It's her faded sock sets, and in with a bit of matching Zorba ball, so that I had in stash. So I've had these for over about 12 months, and I thought it was a really nice use of that for a hat. So that's my Musselburgh hat. All right, I have some more. Another free pattern. So this is a Purl Soho pattern, and it is a watch cap. And the watch cap, I was inspired by Inga. So this stash is about 10 years old, maybe about 10 years old. It's got a great top or great crown. It was really easy to knit. So this one's alpaca, and my husband's been wearing this mainly. And then I did some matching fingerless mitts. And I really like the way the thumb gusset comes up like that. So I like those. They're alpaca. I think it's blue sky alpacas. I've used these a bit since we've been here. Yeah, really happy with those. So that's the Purl Soho watch cap and mitts. There's a pattern for a mitt, a proper mitt or a fingerless mitt, and that's a free pattern from them. I've done it in alpaca. Hang on, I'm gonna consult my iPad. Okay, what is it? Blue sky baby alpaca, and it's I don't know what it is per skein, but don't know. I have got notes, so things like I cast on 140, and it's really comfortable. Used a 3.25mm needle and knit for 21 centimetres before the crown decrease. So the watch cap and mitts. And once again, I'll put the link to all my Ravelry pages down below. And so from there you can find the actual pattern if you need in Ravelry, or if you not in Ravelry, then let me know and I'll give you the link to that on Purl Soho. So we've got the blue sky mitts, the watch cap, the Musselburgh, the test Tolsta, the second test Tolsta, the Softie. I think 6 is enough. I know a lot of them accessories, but I think that I did bring with me more of the alpaca, so I think I will try and make some more hats. I really did enjoy knitting those, and I've got some deep grey and also some orange, so I might try another one of those. But I am doing another hat at the moment, which is an Oslo Mohair Hat, and I'll show you that in a second. So where does that leave us? Now, I left a lot of my knitting at home in New Zealand. So my Naima Fade pullover that's in the naughty corner, that stayed home. My Bits and Bobs blanket, that stayed home. The Miles shirt jacket, which has got that much to go and has had since before Christmas, that stayed home. The half and half came with me, but oh yes, I will show you the half and half. So I haven't done a lot on it, but what I have done, I actually, can't get it. The half and half wrap. Okay, so I'm doing mine in Bendigo wool, Bendigo luxury. And remember I said the Zorba ball that was left over from the Musselburgh hat, I was going to do a wedge, and then I thought there would be like a V shape, a triangular wedge. But no, that's not how the half and half works. So basically I ended up with a small triangle at one end, and then you go across and you start from the other end, and you, so I sort of had to start, I had a triangle at each end, basically, of the Zorba ball. So what I ended up with, just more than a few rows, by the way. I think in the last one I said, oh, there's 20 or so rows. There was about 40 or 50 rows. But anyway, so I've done that much. Okay, so that's the full width of it. I also went back, and I don't know whether I mentioned it last time, whether I'd done it last time. I've gone and done an I-cord at the bottom, so I don't have my provisional cast on anymore. I needed to do my I-cord before I finished this because when I ran out of yarn, I wouldn't have had enough to do the I-cord. So basically what I've done is I finished it with my Zorba ball, and then you start the other end. And I didn't know that at the time that I was telling you. So I've used all my Zorba ball in the same number of rows, and I've now started my blue colourway, my petrol style colourway. And I think that's the right side actually. So it's looking good. So the rest of it will be petrol now. Goes right through, it'll come right through to, and each row chews up another one of these stitches. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know whether I'm going to like it, but it'll be warm, so someone will like it if I don't like it, and it's really an enjoyable knit. I do enjoy knitting on it, so I'll just keep going. That's fine. I am a little bit, I think I should have gone up a needle size, so it's just a little bit firm and not as drapey as what I would have liked. It's a bit bulletproof, you can't see through it. It's on 3.25 millimeter needles. I probably could have gone to 3.5 or 3.75. And if I did it again, I would. But it's going to be a lovely warm wrap. And I think it'll look all right. I think when it's done, it'll look sort of like that. And when you put it around your neck, it'll sort of look all right. Yeah, I think it'll be all right. So anyway, we're still hacking away at that. That's sort of just when I've got nothing else that I feel like doing, or I feel like basic. It's good travel knitting. I think a few people have mentioned that. I've got that in my wild and woolly bag. That's good. That's an Oh Wow Amsterdam bag. Handmade bag. So that's whip number 1. The whip I'm currently, so I've just finished the Tolsta Tee in the linen, and so I'm now focused on this. So this is the Oslo Hat Mohair edition. But what I have done is I've actually just done all my gauges, because I didn't swatch for this because it's a hat. And actually my gauge is very tight. So my gauge is sorry about this. My gauge on this one is 26 stitches, and it's supposed to be 23 stitches, so it is quite tight. I'm actually not that worried because I have tried it on, as in I'll show you. So I've done that's the brim. I've done the double folded brim. I've done the extra 2 centimeters that you do, and then you do, hang on. I've ended up in a bit of a mess here. Okay, there we go. We're magic looping, so that's why it feels a bit meh. Okay. It will be firm. All right. Now it actually goes like that. No, it goes like, how does it go? That comes up there. So when I put it on, sorry, it's going to be like this. Something like that. Anyway, that'll be up under there. So it will fit, it'll be fine. It'll just be firm. So I should probably go up a size in that too. What was that on? Glasses. Old lady. 3mm, so I should have probably done that on a 3.25, but I'll know for next time because it's a really nice pattern and I'll probably do it again. So I had to buy, that one was on hold for a while because I had to buy some more of that. Clover green, knitting for olive, silk, kid silk, and knitting for olive merino. So that's another whip. So what's that? That's 2 whips. 2 whips, I think. So I don't feel like I should have more. No, I suppose I just bound off 2 things. So yeah, that makes sense. So, and the last whip is a lovely whip I'm so enjoying, and that's my Copenhagen cardigan, if I got that right, because I know I've been saying Stockholm cardigan. I think it's a Copenhagen cardigan. Oh, I've got itchy nose. Got mohair. Yes, Copenhagen cardigan. I know I have said Stockholm in the past. So, where are we at with this one? It's a bit all over the place. So, where we are at is I have a cardigan. I have done 1 sleeve with my 20 decreases, and I have done almost all of the other ones. I've done 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oh, got a bit to go. And then you do the bands as you're going. And I've done the pockets. You'll sew them up at the sides. And then I'll knit down from there. And I don't know whether I'll have enough yarn. I just wound off a really big sort of lump of it. A big lump. And that's what I've got left. So if I don't get it done before, like if I run out before I get back to New Zealand, I'll have to wait. And if not, I'll finish it. So I did buy some more kid silk because I've only got 1 more of those and I wasn't sure whether I'd have enough. I will have to break into that last one before I finish the sleeve, I think. So I might need some what I've got. It's a combination of Holst super soft fingering weight wool and Drops kid silk mohair. It's not the softest, but honestly, I wear everything and it doesn't bother me. So, yeah, it's coming up pretty true to life. It looks a lot more marled in the camera than it does. There. So that's my Copenhagen cardigan by Petite Knit. Really enjoying this cardigan. I haven't thought about buttons. I'm not very good with putting buttons on, I always forget. So there's a high, or never get around to it, there's a high neck. And once that's all blocked, done some fit tests, I've been happy with it. Tried to do nice long sleeves, and yeah, I'm really happy with that one. So that's the 3 whips I'm sort of running with at the moment. I'm hoping to start another whip in the next couple of days. I'll start another watch cap hat, and don't think I'll start the mitts, but I'll start another watch cap hat. And yeah, it's a bit hard because you're just working with what you've got. So, and the stash, some of the stash I sort of know what I want to do with, but I sort of want to sit and wait a little bit too. I do have the stash for a couple of jumpers, so I might do some swatching. That's another option. I got my Manchelope, and I got wool. I got Durarium Natura Gilead for Daryl, for hubby, for a jumper. I've been married we're married in 86, so I've no idea, 30 something years. And I think I've knitted him 1, maybe 2 jumpers. He's pretty fussy. So I'm like, okay, how about I do this? So I'm thinking a Zipper Man sweater, or I'm thinking a Lanark sweater, something he can do with a little zip, and that will just make him feel a little bit like, he does wear the Dale Norway jumpers, and so he does wear wool. It's not a problem. He certainly wears my hats and that sort of thing. So it's just getting the right thing for him. And it's a big knit. He's 6'2", so it's a big knit for him, or for me. So I want to get it right. So we'll consult with him a bit more and see what he would like to do, which one he would like, but that can be up to him. Yeah, I bought some pattern books. I bought some kids silk, some knitting for Olive silk, Manchelope, some more Eco Soft. I'm just looking at it all, but I'll do it in another video, so we won't stress about that here. So life, as I said, we get back to Melbourne on about let me do some knitting. We get back to Melbourne on about the 6th of May. It's our bear's birthday. We call one bear and one bud online. That's my daughter does that too. And we'll be there for that. And then my mum's having her 80th birthday. And she just wants family. My sister's coming over from Canada, and we're going to have a meal together on a Sunday afternoon. About 3 weeks into May, sometime I think, and then we'll head back to New Zealand, and we'll be in New Zealand until July, which won't be long. But anyway, in July we're coming back to Melbourne for a week for hubby's birthday and son-in-law's birthday, and then we'll go to the Philippines to see our staff, first time since pre-COVID, so that's pretty amazing. And then we'll go back to Australia for a week or two, a few days, I can't remember, and then back to New Zealand. And then we honestly do not have plans to come back or go anywhere for at least 3 months. It is tiring. I mean, I don't want to sound ungrateful because I'm so grateful for the opportunities that we have. But you start to feel really untethered. It was interesting. We got back here and it's the first time we've been back since we moved. And I was like, oh, wow, this feels really familiar. It feels good. When we're in the UK, we sort of knew where we were and what we were doing. And anyway, the last probably week started to feel a bit homesick and a bit untethered, a bit sort of like I've got no base. I'm feeling a bit lost. I don't even know what the word is, but yeah, it's been really busy and work's been busy. We've got lots to do while we're here. We've had an end of financial year and all the things that come along with that. So and catching up with our staff, making sure they're okay. So yeah, it's just been really busy and really hectic, and we're moving every 4 or 5 days, and I think we'll be quite ready to go when we do. Not that we don't love our lovely UK people. The other thing I did while I was here, so in terms of yarn stores, I am trying something. Okay, people, I poke a hole in my finger. So I tend to push like that to push the needle down, and it starts to hurt in there, on there. So I'm trying something. I got one of those little silicone holders that hold data cables, and I'm trying, get it in the right spot. So doesn't really impact. I might cut this off, and I'm just doing stocking stitching around. So let's have a look how I'm using it. I'll watch my knitting for a bit, okay? So what I'm trying to do, so as I knit along, I need to now push my needle. My stitches are stretching there, and I need to push my needle down here, okay, and I push it down, which has the effect of pushing my stitches up. So if you get over this another way, let me know. And I just do that all the time. I'm not doing it in a coordinated way at the moment because I'm trying to demonstrate it, but so it feels a bit awkward. But did you see what else happens? Can you see that down there? Down there. I've missed down there. I've missed, all I've got there is the mohair, and I've missed picking up the merino strand. So sometimes I will drop down, and I have a little tool, which I don't know where it is at the moment. I have a little gadget, I'll put a picture up here, that sort of acts as a bit of crochet tool, but a fine crochet hook would do the same thing. Yeah, so where was I? I was talking to you about visiting yarn stores. So obviously while I was in London, I wanted to go back to all the yarn stores. I visited Tribe Yarns in Richmond. We stayed in Richmond, and we stayed in Chiswick, which is near Richmond. And I met a friend for lunch, and we went to Tribe prior to that. And I picked up an order I had already placed prior to Easter. And then I picked up just a couple of extra little things. Had a lovely time there. The lovely Dylan helped me, and it was just lovely to see try. I've got a little bit of footage there. And then I think prior to that, I'd been over earlier in the week, I'd been over to Wild Woolly, and I arrived there in the sort of late afternoon, sat and did some bits and pieces and chatting and had a cup of tea and bought some yarn and bought some books and different things. And then we went out for crepes, which was lovely, with some lovely people. And then we had knit night. So, and there was 23 people in that tiny little shop, and it gets very, very hectic. And I was very proud of myself. I left about, I think, just after 9 and got myself back to Chiswick via buses and trains, and thoroughly enjoyed myself. I also went to Beautiful Knitters earlier in the day and bought my Knitting for Olive that I wanted. The Knitting for Olive silk. I needed another ball each of this, and that was where I first saw the Eco Soft that I did the Softie pattern in. So had a lovely time. I haven't got any footage from Beautiful Knitters, but I have put previous footage of Beautiful Knitters. Oops, I just dropped a stitch. Now, just need to make sure I've picked up both. Can't see a thing without the goggles. Yep, picked up both. Yeah, so I managed 3 yarn stores, done some damage. But I'm hoping that, I don't have any plans to buy any more. I know I've bought hubby, actually I bought him some hand spun like this, and I've bought him the Gilead. So, and the boys, my daughter has said my grandsons need some hats. So I've asked for their head circumferences, which haven't arrived yet, but I'll get on to that and make them some hats, I think. And because we're all going into winter in the Southern Hemisphere. So now this is the only thing with this thing, it's catching a little bit. See this, it's, I occasionally catch under that. So probably shouldn't be that far down. If anyone's got any ideas as to how, I thought about a thimble, but I don't really want to lose the feeling in this part of the finger. I thought about a sort of a band-aid or a plaster, but that seems not very reusable. I like to be able to reuse something. Yeah. So, look, I think I'm going to end it there. We're under an hour. By the time I add a little bit of footage of Turkey and Spain and London onto the end of this, it will be pretty much on the hour. I hope you're all well. I'd love to hear where you've travelled, if you've been travelling. If you haven't been travelling, where would you like to travel? If you've got any bucket list places. If you've got any hot tips for not poking holes in your fingers, I'd really like to know that. What are you knitting at the moment? What are you crocheting? What are you crafting? Are you sewing? I've seen some lovely things I want to do. Or as always, my eyes are bigger than well, not my stomach. Well, my eyes are bigger than my stomach too. But in terms of my eyes are not as fast as my needles are. So just going to have to slow up now and ease off and just work on what I have in front of me, which is a huge mess. And wish me luck packing it all in my suitcases. We're going to vacuum pack the yarn. So I've got a couple of vacuum packs that I've brought with me. And so tomorrow we're actually going to pack all of that. So I have to do my stash video today. Otherwise you'll have to wait for 2 weeks or 3 weeks till I get home. And when I get back to Melbourne, I'll separate it. So I'll only take some of it back. I'll take some of it back to New Zealand and leave some in Australia. So here is the only place that I have that has it all together. Yeah, so I hope you're well. Any questions, bang them through. If you've got to now, please put a thumbs up on the video. That'd be lovely. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe. Welcome to everybody who subscribed after the last video. The last video went off. I don't know. I mean, for me, not for other people, but for me, it had nearly 4,000 views, which was amazing. So thank you. I'm not sure if anyone mentioned it. I didn't get a notification, so they may have. Let me know if you came to me via a mention, and I'll thank that person. But please subscribe, like, and drop me a question if you'd like, or drop me a comment. That I really enjoy them. So have a lovely day, and I'll go and do this. I'll have a break. I'll have a cup of tea, another cup of tea, and then I'll sit down and do the stash video, and we'll see how we go. All right, see ya.
That is knotted onto a cotton skeleton. Do you remember what I was referring to as being the skeleton? Okay, so this is wool on cotton. We also have wool on wool, 100%. In other words, all three sections. In this case, is pure wool. And this one here that she's weaving right now is pure silk. So all three sections being in 100% pure silk. Now, in the value ladder, ladies and gentlemen, in the value scale, wool on wool rugs will always be at the bottom. Okay, then comes wool on cotton, and then at the top will come silk on silk. Now, the reason for this is simply because on new rugs, when I'm talking about new rugs, I'm talking about rugs which are between 0 to 25 years of age.